Massey and I have talked many times about why we started Self-Evident, and it was the simple realization that we were lied to as kids. We didn't know anything about true liberty, the founding of our nation, anything about our founders, nothing about what made America an exceptional nation. Our desire was to give kids what simply no one ever told us.
So one day in late 2015, Carrie came to my office and sat across from me, and she ended up telling me that she'd been praying, and she said that the Lord told her that I would use music and I would use the message that I have to go minister to thousands, and we had to step out very soon. So in the beginning of 2016 is when Self-Evident Ministries was born. We dug, we scratched, we plowed, we kicked. 8 years later, and here we are, reaching thousands, if not hundreds of thousands now, for the glory of God. And through all of it, we slept in truck stop parking lots. We would take truck stop showers because we couldn't afford hotel rooms, and we would go with joy. Groups would pay us, groups wouldn't pay us. We didn't care. We would raise the money to go preach the gospel. And here we are. And I remember just having flat tires. We had busted cars, transmissions. I mean, things that most people would quit for, we did. We quickly realized that nobody was off limits. We didn't want to turn down a group for money. So we did a group as small as 3. I drove through a snowstorm to get to that one. And a group as far as 5,000. We've done some big events, but we realized that no matter what, souls needed to be preached to. And we kind of had a few things in our hearts. Number one, we had to preach the gospel and minister everywhere we go. That was the most important thing, to defend what true liberty means for every American, because it's God-given. God gives us liberty in all things. To teach the truth about America's founding, its heritage, its constitution, and God's miracles on our nation, like the miraculous hand of God. We were always willing to go no matter what. We spoke to everybody who invited us. We've spoken at churches, we've spoken at public schools, community groups, colleges, political groups. We've had impromptu gatherings. We spoke in the backyard of someone's house, homeschool groups, conferences, more. We've been so blessed to share Christ and the gospel with so many people. And our hope was just to set people free. Like, if we could set them free in the spirit, they could see that their liberty comes from the Lord naturally as well. So why did we start this? What did we see as the problem? We saw that there were so many people in our country who've been lied to. They don't even know that God gives us rights, and that liberty was an inalienable right from God. And a few years ago, we saw what government can really do in 2020. We had a government that would force people to do things they didn't want to do with their bodies. We saw elected officials trying to close our church doors. We watched kids' libraries filled with so much garbage it would make a grown adult blush. Our kids have been exposed to truly horrific things under the guise of reading hours, such as drag shows and things like that. Authoritarians do everything they can to oppress free speech, remove parental rights, clamp down on religion, and promote vice, and come against the most vulnerable, and promote it as liberty. Our nation can't even tell you what a man or a woman is anymore. In other words, our liberties, our kids, and truth are suffering from decades of lies and apathy. This is why we found it so important to stand, because we could do something about it.
How did we respond? When it all came to a head a few years ago in America, we stood and fought. We stood and took it to the elected officials when they tried to force mask mandates and close down churches. We supported those refusing vaccine mandates. We wrote exemptions. We put on a vaccine conference. And we coordinated efforts to push back against vaccine tyranny. We helped school board members get elected who were willing to fight back against the destruction of our children. Those school board members removed piles of trash from our kids' libraries. We informed and educated on the rights of parents and the power of righteousness. Every day we bring the truth of this nation's founding and God's hand of blessing on all of it to the corners of the nation. We're in this fight for our lives. We will never rest until everyone has heard the brilliance and importance of the Constitution and the power of the gospel. We won't rest until God's name is proclaimed and liberty is successfully defended. We will not sleep until we've presented the power of Christ to everyone God sets before us.
Now, to this day, what have we continued to do? We coordinate community groups that influence local governments. We produce a podcast twice a week and target a larger social media audience for getting the truth out to the next generation. We've created conferences, we've created webinars, we've created curriculums, books, and products to instruct, inspire, and motivate. Most importantly, I feel like our heart was always to pastor people, to disciple people, to bring people to maturity in Christ. And so whoever God brings into our path, it's like they're a part of our family. So we want to do our best to be there in the eyes of Christ. We are self-evident, and our mission is to ensure every single person can live liberated.